Alright, this is my first YouTube video. I had a couple of friends ask me how I do my makeup and if I would ever do a tutorial on it. And I've always wanted to make YouTube videos, and I thought in the middle of a pandemic, while I'm staying home, there's no better time for me to actually just try it and do it. So yeah, I'm going to do my not everyday makeup because I don't wear makeup every day, but this is my, if I'm going to wear makeup look. So if you wear foundation, before you do any of this, you're gonna wanna wear a primer, of course. I don't like the way foundation looks on my skin. I have really dry skin and I have something called ichthyosis that gives me lots of dry patches, and I just feel like most foundations look bad on top of it. And I'm also not trying to cover up a lot of stuff. I like my freckles. I like a little bit of like my natural skin to come through. I'm not trying to cover anything up, but if you are, there's nothing wrong with that. So go ahead and do foundation first if that's your thing. I like to instead spend my money on skincare. I've spent a lot of time learning how to do skincare and what stuff works the most. And I feel like that has made me happier and been more beneficial than learning to use foundation, but maybe someday, who knows? So instead, I'm just gonna use a concealer to start with. Oh, this is to say, I have done my skincare this morning. I've washed my face, I've done my serums, my lotion, and I have sunscreen on. So that's a good base that I start with. The concealer that I use is the Glossier Stretch Concealer. And I'm gonna use a mini foundation brush, I think. It's kind of like a small stippling brush. Just get a little bit on there, and then there's a few key places that I put my concealer, especially if I'm gonna be taking pictures or filming. This is where I'll put it. I might not use this much concealer if it's just like if I had to go to work or something. But the first place is right under my eye, and then up around here. So it's kind of like a little C shape around my eye because it gets kind of dark in that inner corner. Take some of that product and then put it right here on the outer corner as well. I have some redness over there. And then I'll put a little bit under my eyebrow. And then I'll take some of this extra and put it right around my nose right here. You can apply this specific concealer especially with your fingers if you want to, but I feel like if I do that to begin with, it picks up most of the product. Okay, now I'll do the other side. Okay, so the last place I'm gonna put concealer is right on my chin. I have a lot of redness in this area. I don't really care that much, but if I'm gonna be doing my full face, then I'll put a little bit down there too. And I will also put a little bit on any spots if I have them. I'm looking all right today. All right, the next step is going to be bronzer. You can contour at this point if you want to. I don't ever do that, but I do like to put a lot of bronzer on. So I use the Physicians Formula. This is the Butter Bronzer. It smells like coconuts. And I'll use kind of a blush brush or something like this one, just like a rounded, fluffy brush. That one works too. And there's a few key places that I want to get most of the product. In the first place is my forehead. Obviously, you want to put bronzer where the sun would be hitting you. So whatever places you normally tan the most, that's where you're going to want to place most of your bronzer. And put it all across my forehead. I'm not really trying to stay on the edges or anything. I'll bring it down my temples, maybe even a little between my eyebrows. This bronzer is a little bit shimmery, so that's nice because I don't use highlight. One other cool place to put bronzer is kind of in a W shape across the front of your face. So going like this looks really nice. I'll put most of it on my cheekbone, just to start like that, a little stripe on my nose, and then I'll kind of connect the two of them. and buff that out. Bring it down the side of my face just a little bit. It smells so good. Now the other side. So I think you can kind of see that going across my face, there's kind of a W shape with this bronzer, and it just looks so natural and it's so easy to do. And then I'll take the extra and put it on my chin and down my neck. Just clean the brush off. That's it for bronzer. The next step is going to be eyebrows. I don't know if this order makes any sense. This is just how I've done it forever, but I'm going to do a gel and either a pen or a pencil to fill in the gaps in my eyebrows. I use 3 products. The first one is M Cosmetics Brow Gel in the shade Taupe. I use Glossier Boy Brow in just brown, and then I use the Brow Flick from Glossier, also in brown. I prefer to do gel first and then fill in the gaps because I'm not very good at seeing what shape my brow is before it's darkened. You can see that my eyebrows are pretty sparse. I did go through the over-plucking plague just like everybody else did, but I had thin and sparse brows to begin with, so this helps me a lot to see what natural shape my brows have anyways. Get a good amount of product on here, and then I wipe off the stuff on the end just like you would with mascara. So start at the front and comb it through from the base up to the top, just like you would with mascara on your eyelashes. Bring it over to the side. I don't really care what it looks like at this point because I'm going to be filling it in however I want to, but this does give me a good general shape. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side. So I have finessed my eyebrows into a shape I like generally, and now I'm gonna take the Brow Flick and I'm going to just basically draw on whatever eyebrow I don't have. And this is a really good product for that because it has such a fine tip on it. I'll do the beauty guru thing. Anyway, it has such a fine tip on it that you can draw like actual individual hairs. You can use like an eyebrow shadow or a pencil. I've used both, but I think that this is just more natural looking, and I like to draw anyways, so it's just my little creative outlet for the day. And then from here, I will add a few little brush strokes to the end to kind of make a tail. Then I'll add a few to the front of my brow, even though it's thicker up there. I want it to look even, so I'm gonna add some of this to the front. I think that is generally how I would do my eyebrows every time. I'm going to do the other side. This one is harder. I have less hair on this side, and it also becomes thinner further up in my brow. Basically, I pick the eyebrow with the most hair and shape that one, and then I try and match the other brow to that one. So I have tried to match my brows as evenly as possible, and then I know it's a little bit extra, but I will put another brow gel on top, and it's a different one. I got this one for free, so I'm just trying to use it. I don't want it to go to waste. So it's kind of like an eyebrow gel sandwich. Beautiful, looking hot. As you can see, these are very different from what my natural brows look like. I basically am just faking it, baby, and that's fine. So next, I think blush. That will finish off the complexion part of my face. I use 2 blush products, which again is kind of excessive. If you don't have this many things, that's fine. Just use whatever you do have. I tend to go for cream or liquid blush products. I use Glossier Cloud Paint, and I also use the M Cosmetics, what do they call it here? This is in the shade Rose Milk, but it's just their like serum blush. I'll start with the Glossier Cloud Paint in Storm, and you barely need anything. And if you do own one of these, you probably know this, and if you don't and you're gonna get one, it comes out really fast and you only need the tiniest bit. So like even that, what just came out, that's too much. And I barely squeezed that bottle. Cloud paint works well if you use a beauty blender or just your fingers. The cloud paint is pretty forgiving. So if you feel like you do have too much on your face and you have a beauty blender, just go right over where you put it and it will pick up a lot of that product. I put it up towards my eyes. I'll put it under my eyes and then right at the end of my nose, like a Huggies commercial, like when they need their tissues and the ends of their noses are bright red. That's what I'm going for. I want to look like I have a cold. And whatever is left over, I just, in the same way I did my bronzer, I bring it kind of up my nose in that W shape, but I don't want too much right there because it'll look like I have a really bad sunburn. I wear way too much blush. Now I'm gonna use the serum blush. And this one, just like the bronzer, is really highlighting. It's really shiny. And I think highlighter looks really weird on me. So this is perfect. And I will just put it right on top. It's so soft, it's so pretty. It is kind of sticky though. So if you don't want your face to be sticky, don't use this. It's just really hydrating. So if you're gonna be wearing a face mask or something, this might not be your favorite, but it is really beautiful. Now this might be way too much blush for you. You might think I look insane, but I love it and I have no intention of putting on less or ever stopping. So if this is not your vibe, don't do it. But if you are trying to look very, very sun-kissed, a little cold, or a little flushed, this is perfect. Okay, eyeliner. This specifically is something I have been asked how to do for years. I love a wing. I have been wearing an eyeliner wing for 10 years. It's pretty much like my staple. I have a couple tips, but honestly, eyeliner it's just the kind of thing you have to practice. My eyes are not going to be the exact same shape as yours, so the way that I learned how to do it on myself is specific to my face. If you have a lot of eyelid space like me, and you have kind of folds in your eyelids like this, then these tips might help you a lot. Let's get started with that. I am going to be using M Cosmetics again. This is their eyeliner in the shade brown. If I want a black eyeliner wing, I'll use Physicians Formula in the shade black. I'll like put a line on my hand and it'll be there for days. With everything else, I do one side and then I finish it and start on the other side. But when I do eyeliner, because it's so difficult to get them to be even, I will do one mark on one side and then I'll do it on the other side. Instead of finishing one eye and then just hoping I can match it on the other side, like I did with my eyebrows. Let's start with a line as close to your lash line as possible, starting at the outer corner and then stopping right about where your pupil is. It's okay if this line is kind of sloppy because we're gonna fill in the area above it anyways. Okay, so it should look like this at this point, and do the same to the other side. So we have both of the lash lines done. Now I'm gonna add the bottom of the wing. A good rule of thumb is to have your line end halfway between your eyebrow and the outer corner of your eye. And it should be following the bottom lash line and then going up towards your eyebrow. Instead of starting by my eye and then going out, I start on the outside and come in. That way my line is thinner at the top and then gets bigger at the bottom. Also make sure to never pull your eye. because that will change the shape when you release it. Okay. Okay, so you can see how the line has pointed up towards the end of my brow, and I have tried to keep the tip still super thin so that I can still have a nice sharp point to it. And I didn't do just one full line. I'm not good enough to do that, so I'll do little bits at a time until I reach the outer corner of my eye. I'm going to do the other side. I need a good visual of where I placed it. I feel like that's relatively similar. This one's a little bit longer. You can see it's closer to my eyebrow than that one. So I'm gonna have to lengthen this one. These are gonna be some big wings, but that's usually what I do anyways, so that's fine. The next step is going to be joining the end of this line back to the middle of your eye. Make sure that you're not doing it when your eye is all the way closed, because when you open it back up, it's gonna have a different placement. The part that's on your eyelid is gonna be usually above the outer part. So I have to do my eyeliner with my eye open to make sure that the line is straight across from the end to the middle of my eye when I'm looking straight on. Make sure you try and do that line as dead center as possible. And you can see as I'm doing this part that I kind of have to like smudge it into the creases of my eyelid. Otherwise, if I go like this with my eye, it'll have gaps. Okay, we have an outline. And then just do the exact same thing on the other side, and I'll show you if I'm looking straight on, this line goes straight across. But if I close my eye, it has an angle to it, which is why it doesn't work to just like close your eye and draw a straight line down. Now just fill them in and then make sure they're as even as possible and that the ends are sharp. And that's pretty much how you do eyeliner. These are some pretty serious wings. If it's too much for you, you can do them smaller. It's the same idea, you just don't extend this bottom line as long. But I love a good cat eye. I love a big wing. I feel confident. So this is how I'm gonna do it pretty much every single time. All right, next, I will do mascara. Mascara is very easy. I just curl my lashes and then I put it on. I do, instead of just curling the bottom though, I'll kind of tilt the curler up to get a curl throughout all of the lash instead of just at the bottom. But I feel like a lot of people do that. So if that's a little tip you didn't know, then there you go. Nice. Okay, cool. I use L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. It is very affordable and it is really good at lengthening. I will use whatever is left on the wand after doing the top set, and I will do a little bit on the bottom. Just a little bit of that. You can see the difference. This is a really good mascara. Let's do the other side. That is mascara done. Now, pretty much the last step, if I don't want to be extra, is either a little bit of tinted lip balm. I like the Glossier Balm.coms. And I also have this, what is it? Generation G. It's like a pretty nourishing sheer lipstick from Glossier. And I'll put a little bit of that on. I do have chapstick on right now, but just for a little bit of color. That's such a pretty color. Cute. This one's in the shade like, ooh. And then if I'm going to be like doing a photo shoot, or if I'm gonna have video taken of me for like music purposes or anything, I will use this black eyeliner, and it's really good for drawing little shapes. You could do hearts, stars, diamonds, dots, whatever. Some placements I like for that are out following the line of my eyeliner, like maybe a couple dots underneath my eyebrow, right inside, right here on this inner corner, underneath both eyes, right in the middle. I like a little triangle underneath both eyes. That's really cute. Or just like a star or a heart off to one side underneath your eye. I don't really want to do anything like that today, so I'm gonna skip that step. And then very, very last, if I feel super extra, I'll put on some false eyelashes. I never do the full lash. I feel like it just looks really weird on me, not everyone, of course. But I will cut the eyelash either in 2/3 or in half, and then I will only put on the lashes on the outside, on the outer half of my eyes. It's just giving me that really long cat-like eye shape that I really like. And I'm gonna put these on. They look cute. Okay, this is pretty much it. This is the finished look. It's a little bit cute, a little bit sassy, a little bit natural, a little bit extra. It's a little bit of everything. I put on some of my favorite earrings. I zhuzhed up my hair. That's it. That's how I do my makeup. Pretty much every time. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you liked hanging out with me for a little bit. Thanks for sticking around and thinking it was interesting enough to give it a click. Here comes a friend. Go ahead, you can like it if you want to. If you don't want to, I really don't care. It's all good. This is my first video. I'm really glad I did it. It was a lot less awkward than I thought it would be. Who knows, maybe I'm still awkward, but it doesn't matter. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully that helped you. You good? Well, it looks like we're all done. The dogs are up and at 'em, so thank you. Bye.